All right, guys, so this video is going to be over triangles and their angles. Here you have a picture or 6 pictures of different triangles. I'm not going to spend too much time. You can actually pause the video and take a look at the triangles and why they have those names. I'm going to go pretty fast on this part. As you can see here, triangles get their names based on their sides, and they also get their names based on their angles. So let's start here with this scalene triangle. Scalene, it's so scary, nothing is the same. It means that the length of all the sides are different. So no one side is the same as the other. The next picture you have what's called an isosceles triangle, like ice popsicles, because as you can see these sticks, this one has 2 and this one has 2. What that means is, again, we're looking at the sides, right? So from here all the way to here, it's the same as this side on the right, from here to here. These 2 sides are the same because both of them have these little sticks here, okay? The next picture has an equilateral triangle, and basically the name says it all. Equal. All sides are equal. If you look at the picture, this has 2 sticks. That means from the sides, we're looking at the sides, from here to here. It's the same as this one because that one has 2 sticks from here to here. And it's the same as this one because this one has 2 sticks from here to here. Okay, I hope this is making sense to you. Now let's look at the bottom half, in which triangles are based on angles. So right now we're going to look at their names, but we're not looking at their sides. We're looking at their angles. And here's pretty much the easiest tip I can give you. If you look at the angles, a triangle is named based on its biggest angle. I'm going to repeat that. It's based on its biggest angle. So let's look at this one. This angle is acute. This one's acute because it's less than 90. This one's acute. So this one is called an acute triangle because all the angles are acute. The biggest angle is an acute angle. Let's look at the one right here in the middle. This one, that angle is acute. This angle is acute. And this angle here is a right angle because the little square tells you that. It means that that's a 90-degree angle. When they're acute, they're less than 90. This one's exactly 90. So, because this is the largest, the biggest angle, it is called a right triangle because the largest one measures exactly 90 degrees. The last one, let's look at the last one. This is an acute angle. This is an obtuse angle. That's bigger than 90 degrees. So because this one right here is the biggest one, that's the biggest angle. It's an obtuse angle. That's the name of the triangle. It's an obtuse triangle. All right, let's go ahead and jump into solving missing angles. But before we do that, guys, I need to make sure that you put this through your heads, please. All triangles measure exactly 180 degrees. I don't care how big, how small, how narrow, how wide. As you can see, all of these triangles look different. But in the end, if you add all their angles, all 3 angles put together, each of them is going to have a total of 180 degrees. All right, so keep that in mind for this next part of the video. Let's move on to finding missing angles. All right, so here we have 3 different triangles. We're going to go ahead and focus on one at a time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and focus on this one first. And here it says, write and solve an equation. So I need an equation, something with an equal sign, to determine the value of x. So I know that if I add this angle plus that angle plus that angle, it's going to equal 180 degrees. Let me go ahead and rewrite that. So I know that together it's going to equal 180 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all 3 angles in a triangle. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this 42 degrees plus, here it doesn't show me a number, but I do know that it has a box, so I know that that one measures 90 degrees. Plus, this one I have no clue. All I know is that it's an acute angle, but right now it's giving me a measurement of x It's unknown. That's what we got to figure out. All right, guys, so I need to solve for x. Separate your rooms. All right, so you're the variable. Who is in your room? Well, 42 plus 90 is in your room. Let's go ahead and add those two together. So 90 plus 42. So the equation should look like this. 132 plus x equals 180. All right, you're the variable. Again, who's in your room? Plus 132. How do you get rid of plus 132? By doing the opposite, which is minus 132. But to keep it even, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. All right, so here you got rid of that. All you have is your x equals, let's go ahead and do 180 minus 132. All right, 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 3 is 4. 1 minus 1 is 0. So that means, guys, that the measure of angle x is equal to 48 degrees. I'm not just satisfied by looking at it, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look at the picture again. I'm going to measure and substitute for that x. Okay, so I'm going to add 42 degrees plus this one here, this angle, which is 90 degrees, plus, what did we say x was? We said x was 48. And just a few minutes ago, I said that all triangles must measure a total of 180 degrees. So let's check if they measure 180. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 9 plus 4 plus 1. That's 14 plus another 4. That's 18. Does that make sense? It sure does. All right, let's go ahead and move to the next triangle. Remember, guys, all triangles measure a total of 180 degrees. So let's focus here. All right, this one here says that this is 22 degrees, this obtuse is 140, and this one, I don't know how much it measures, but I do know that it's acute based on the angle. So let's go ahead and do what the instruction says, write an equation, which means I have to have an equal sign somewhere, to determine the value of x. So I know that 22 plus 140 plus the x should give me a total of 180 degrees. You're the variable. Who's in your room? 22 and 140. So let's go ahead and add 140 plus 22. All right, so this right here is going to give me 162 plus x equals 180. Again, you're the variable. Who's in your room? Plus 162. How do I get rid of plus 162? By doing the opposite, minus 162. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So, over here, all I have is the x equals, let's do our subtraction. 10 minus 2 is 8, 7 minus 6 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. So that means that x equals 18 degrees. I already knew it was going to be acute, and it was going to be a small number, and I got 18 degrees. Again, to make sure, I'm going to add 140 plus the 22 here, plus the x, which we said would be 18. All right, let's go ahead and add that. That's 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. And if I add all angles in my triangle, that also equals 180 degrees. All right, so that looks good. All right, guys, on to our next one. Our next and last triangle in this problem is this one. So this is 17 degrees, this is x degrees, and here they didn't give me a number, but I know that it's 90 degrees because it has that little box. So I'm going to put 17 plus 90 plus x. All together, all three angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. Here's the x. These people are in your room. Let's go ahead and add 90 plus 17. That'll give me 107. So 107 plus x equals 180. All right, separate your rooms. How do you get rid of plus 107? By doing the opposite, subtract 107. This cancels out. All I have is an x. But remember, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. All right, so let's do our calculations. 10 minus 7 is 3. 7 minus 0 is 7. 1 minus 1, 7. So that means, guys, that x equals 73 degrees. Again, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is correct, especially if this were in a test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 17 degrees plus right here, which is 90 degrees, plus the x, which we said was 73 degrees. So I'm going to add those to make sure they equal 180 degrees. So, all right, 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 7, 17, 18. And again, looks good. Total of 180 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next piece. Oh man, this one looks a little different. All right, let's go ahead and see what we can do about this. It says write and solve an equation, so it needs an equal sign, to determine the value of x in each triangle. All right, let's go ahead and focus on the first one. The thing is, what's different is that they didn't give me any actual degrees for any of them. But I do know that if I put 2x. If I add this one, 2x, plus this one, 2x, plus this one, x. I know that if I add all angles in a triangle, it's still going to give me a total of 180 degrees. But, I have many x's. How many x's do I have? Well, let's count. Here, I have 2 x's. Here, I have 2 x's. And here, I have just 1 x. Well, how many x's are those? Here's 2, 4, 5. So what this is really saying is 5 x's are going to give me 180 degrees. What we did here, guys, we just combined like terms. Okay, so I have 5 x's, and those 5 x's, when I put them together, they're going to equal 180. What's happening between the 5 and the x? Multiplication. Don't forget, separate your rooms. You're the x. How do I get rid of times 5? By doing the opposite. What's the opposite of times 5? Divided by 5. But what you do to one side, you must do to the other. So x equals 180 divided by 5. Let's figure that out. 5 can go into 1, 0. 5 can go into 18, 3 times. And 5 can go into 30, 6 times. All right, so x equals 36. Now, guys, please be very, very careful here. Remember, we just did our math and we put x equals 36. Now, let's go back to the picture. This is where you need to be careful. Here's an x. That equals 36 degrees. But here, I have 2 x's. I have 2 of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 36, but I have 2, so I'm going to multiply it times 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1. So this one, guys, is actually 72 degrees. Okay, sorry, I'm rewriting. This one is 72 degrees because it's not just one x, it's 2 of them. So this one's also 2x, so that's 72 degrees. What I'm going to do to make sure is add my numbers and make sure they come out to be 180 degrees total. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, plus 3, that's 18. Yep, my answers make sense. It equals to 180 degrees total. Let's go ahead and try the next one. But before we do that, guys, see if you can give it a shot on your own. If you'd like, go ahead and put the video on pause and give it a try, and then unpause it so you can see if you got it correct or not. Okay, here we go. What I'm going to do is I need to add 7x plus 3x plus, wait a minute, this one does not have an x. This one measures 90 degrees. So this one actually has a number. So I'm going to put plus 90. So remember guys, if I add all my angles together, how much does it equal? 180 degrees. Sorry, I made that too small. It equals 180 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first combine like terms. Okay? This one here has 7 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one here has 3 x's. 1, 2, 3. All together, if you count your x's, I have 10 x's plus 90 degrees equals 180 degrees. I did it again. I apologize. All right, so I am the x, but who's in my room? Plus 90. Okay, what I'm going to do is take away 90 because that's the opposite of plus. So I got rid of this. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So 180 minus 90 is 90 degrees. Remember, I got rid of this, but I still have to bring down the 10 x's. I need to solve for x. All right, what's happening between the 10 and the x? They're multiplying. You're the variable. How do you get rid of times 10? By doing the opposite. What's the opposite of times? Divide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 10. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So 90 divided by 10 equals 9. Again, guys, be very, very careful here because x equals 9. 1x equals 9. Let's go back to our picture. I'm going to erase a little bit here so we can focus more on the picture. All right, so let's look at the picture, guys. Right here, how many x's do you have? You have 7 x's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 7 times, what did we say 1x is? 9. So I'm going to multiply the x 9 times. All right, and 7 times 9 is 63 degrees. I'm going to put that there. This one here doesn't have 1x. It has 3 x's. So I'm going to multiply 3 times the x again, which is 9. And that's going to be 27 degrees. And the last angle here, I don't have to do anything because I already know it's 90 degrees. All right, but what I am going to do to check my work is I'm going to add all of them. The 27 degrees plus 63 degrees plus 90 degrees. When I add everything, I should get a total of 180 degrees. 7 plus 3 is 10. 9 plus 1 is 10 plus 6, 16, 17, 18. Again, it worked. All right, guys, let's look at our last one. I'm going to go ahead and erase to make space. Same procedure. X plus this angle x plus this angle 2x. So 2x plus x plus x. All together, I should get a total of 180 degrees. All right, all of these are x's, so I can combine like terms. Here, there's 2 x's. This one's 1x, and this one's 1x. How many x's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 x's, so 4x equals 180 degrees. All right, what's happening between the 4 and the x? They're multiplying. You're the variable. How do you get rid of times 4? Divide by 4. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So let's go ahead and do 180 divided by 4. 4 can go into 1, 0. 4 can go into 18. 4 times. That's 16. And 4 can go into 20. 5 times. All right, guys, so this says that x equals 45 degrees. Again, pay attention. One of those x's equals 45 degrees. So I'm going to go back to my triangle. This angle here has 1x, so that's 45 degrees. This one also has just 1x, and I know that 1x is 45 degrees. This one here, however, has two x's. It has two 45s. So I'm going to do 45 times 2, which is 90 degrees. So if I add 90 plus 45 plus another 45, that's 10, 10. That also equals 180 degrees. All right. Guys, I hope this short video has helped you solve for missing angles and triangles. But before we finish this off, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did that. 72. That was 72. All right. What we're going to do is combine what we did from the very beginning of the video. We're going to go ahead and name these triangles based on their sides and their angles. All right. So this one, two sides are the same. Two angles are the same. Okay, so because the two sides and two angles are the same, this is called an acute, because all angles are acute, isosceles, because two sides and two angles are the same, triangle. That's the name of that triangle. Okay, the next one, this one has a 90-degree angle, 27 and 63. The largest angle is 90 degrees, so that's going to be a right triangle if you look at the angles. And then if you look at the sides, no sides are the same. So this is going to be called a right scalene, so scary, nothing is the same, triangle. Let's look at the third one. These two angles are the same, that means two sides are the same. So that's isosceles. And the largest angle is 90 degrees. So that's also called an isosceles triangle like this one. However, it is not acute like this one because this one actually has a right triangle. So this is called a right isosceles triangle. All right, that's the end of the video. Hope it helped and have an awesome day. Thank you.